Well, hi everyone, it's Marcus and welcome to more Zooming in the Jungle Room. Today, I'm very fortunate. I have got an Australian music legend. He's an icon. He's one of my total favorites. He is Jack Jones from the Southern Sons. I'm excited. Jack, how are you today?
I'm very well, Marcus. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. First of all, on that chandelier, that is brilliant.
I'm admiring your jungle room.
Thank you, thank you. Maybe we
I
can
love it.
I'll send you some plants because, I can't see any plants in the background there.
No, I haven't finished the decorating yet, and it definitely could do with a splash of green in here. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah. Now, obviously, the reason we are talking today is because you are coming to Adelaide, or well, you're actually doing an Australian tour, but you are coming to Adelaide and you're playing at the Woodville Town Hall on Friday, the 21st of June, but not just with you solo, but with Southern Sons. How exciting. It's been quite a while.
Yeah, look, it's we've sort of been dipping our toe back into playing again over the last. The Southern Sons had a formal reunion in 2019, minus Phil Buckle, who just didn't want to tour, and that was for the One Electric Day tour around the country. We did some side shows as well. I also got very, very sick on that tour and didn't have a voice for most of it. So I'm kind of enjoying, being back in the swing with the boys. We've got Pete Drummond playing drums with us, who's the only person that Virgil sanctions to do the gig. So we're very, very thankful and grateful to have him with us. He's also an amazing singer, and we've got some visuals. We've kind of tried to take it from performance to experience. So there's a bit of nostalgia. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel. I know a lot of bands go out and try and kind of do different versions of their stuff, but I feel like we all have enough of our own projects to feel like we're expressed in our current state, and that we're all quite comfortable just revisiting that as authentically as we can, and also gives people a more full experience of they when you hear things a certain way, it definitely transports you back to a place, and I like that when I go and see a band that is, I don't know what you want to call it, like a I don't want to say legacy. I don't want to put myself in the legacy artist category, but like a band that you loved 30 years ago. It's nice when you go and see them, and there's still elements of the beginnings of your relationship with their music still intact.
Of course. I mean, funny you should say, the years, because it's coming up to 35 years since
God,
that.
I know.
Southern Sons titled album was 1990, and then you just got stratospheric with Heart in Danger single, and then obviously the hits just followed after that. Do you remember that? Was it kind of like crazy and dizzy for you?
Yeah, look, I do remember it. Obviously, there's a lot of it that I don't remember. It was a very stressful time for me. If I could do it over, look, I don't have many regrets. I really don't. But if I had to do over with that, I think I would just relax and enjoy it more. But I felt this overwhelming and crushing pressure almost all the time to just be brilliant. And because I was being compared to, somebody that we all consider as like a god of singing, I think at the time I did wrestle with that, and it sort of affected my ability to really just enjoy the success that we were having. You don't realize what I mean, particularly it's much more, I'm much more present to it now, and as the years go on, just what a miracle it is to have a hit.
Yeah.
Like it just, particularly when we had them, I guess. I mean, not that it's completely different now, but it's the same sort of difficulty, I suppose, just different hurdles. But you know, the music business is basically designed to like not let anything through the gates and for everything to fail. There's just there were so many moving parts and so many things that were just, you know, that could fall over along the way and just collapse into itself, that it was always a mystery when you managed to have a hit, you know. And it's more, I'm more present to it now than even then, you know. Then you just sort of think, oh, you know, we've spent all this time working, we've worked so hard, you know, we've made a record, we think that these songs will connect with people, and you know, why wouldn't that happen? You know, you're just so naive, you just think it seems so obvious that you know, that it's, and not in an egotistical way that, you know, you deserve to be successful or whatever. You just think that, you know, why wouldn't it unfold that way, you know? And when we play those songs now, and you know, I hear people singing them, I just think to myself, what an absolutely extraordinary experience. And I'm kind of getting to really, I'm getting what I missed out on then. You know, and the other thing is that I was a completely different, well, I wouldn't say completely different person, but I was incredibly young, and you know, I was fresh out of the country, and I really, you know, it was a very new and overwhelming experience. So I think I missed a lot of it because I was just like, you know, like going to New York for the first time, and you're just like, oh my God, like it's all a bit overwhelming, really. But yeah, I think I've remembered what I can, but I'm sure there's a lot that got lost along the way.
Um, Look, I'm going to call it. I mean, there were so many singles that were, so many songs on those albums that were absolute bangers that weren't exactly hits. But one of my favorite was a hit, and it was "You Were There." Just absolute classic. But what would be one song that you just never get sick of singing out of your repertoire?
It's a song called "Something More." That's off the first record as well, and for some reason, I just have a real deep connection with that song. I think it's because when I first decided to go back and start playing this stuff again, now there's a long period that I didn't play this stuff. I definitely didn't. The band didn't go on tour, and you know, we once the band kind of finished, apart from the odd solo gig that I sang "Hold Me in Your Arms" or whatever at, you know, for the most part, there wasn't a lot of that music being played again. And I definitely don't go, you know, I'm not one of those people that goes back and listens to my old records, or, I mean, I probably do now more than before, just because I have to revise, you know, like revision. But when I was going through that process of listening to a whole, you know, listening to that first and the second, and even the third record, and I mean, there are other songs that I feel like I have a real connection with. There's a song called "Fare Thee Well" on the third record, and but something more. It gave me a huge insight as to what my brothers in the band's lives looked like before we had our overnight success. That, you know, preceded itself with 15 years of hard work, and then just this magical combination of people that just, you know, and music that, and a time where, you know, the planets aligned, and everything sort of collapsed in the right way and just then sort of exploded. And Something More just really gives, you know, it's just about doing that grind, and working at a job that you don't want to be at, 9 to 5, and what your life looks like when you believe that there's something more for you out there, and you're trying to create it. And you know, I didn't have that experience when I joined the band. I had it much later in life, when I decided to take a couple of years off and do like a real job when I was living in the US. That wasn't that long ago. But it was only then that I really had a true appreciation for what that song really meant and where it came from. So I love that song. I do it at all my acoustic shows. And pardon me. and I absolutely love doing it at the band shows. It's a wonderful little song that Phil so meticulously crafted.
Speaking of America, I mean, a lot of your fans would actually know this. I mean, as Australian as you actually are, I'm sure a lot of people know that you were born in America. During your heady period of the career, and indeed when you're doing your solo albums as well, was there at any point in time that you thought, oh, you know what, maybe I should really go back to America, you know, to do this kind of work?
Yeah, look, when the evolution of Erwin Thomas came out, we went and did some, showcase gigs, and there was talk of the Suns going and doing the same thing when 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 our record basically when our record company passed on us. There was a part of us that was like, well, like, fuck it, why don't we just go there and do some showcase gigs? And at the time, and not that I had the full say because I didn't, but my opinion at the time was, I mean, we all agreed in the end to not do it. But I just felt like it was a bit of I mean, look, in hindsight, we probably should have just spent the money and bet on ourselves and had a go. Like, you never know what could have happened, right? You don't, and I think that's another thing that I've definitely come to learn in life. If you just show up for life, it'll show up for you somehow. Like, if you just got to keep showing up, though. But we chose not to do it. And strangely enough, when the Evolution came out, I guess I'd learned my lesson and thought, well, we should go. And even though nothing came of that, I had a really uncomfortable, what do you call it? Like, I can't remember. I can't think of the actual name. But basically, you go into a boardroom and you sing for like L.A. Reid. And that was what I did. And I was singing a song called Consequence that he absolutely loved when he heard it at BMG conference up in, Hamilton Island or something when we played it. I remember him saying to James Roche, tapping him while we were playing, going, "This is a good song." Like, and then I proceeded to play it to him in this private, like, listening session while he just stirred his cup of tea, like clinking his glass with his spoon. And I thought, you know what? If this is what you have to sort of, it was almost humiliating in a way to do it. Like, I was sitting there thinking, what the fuck am I doing right now? Like, why am I doing this? This is just ridiculous. Like, this desk is the size of a small apartment. I'm on one side of it, old mate's on the other side of it, clinking his glass. But now I've got a great story, I guess, to tell about it. It was something that we did. And in the end, we went to America for 10 days with the Erwin Thomas clan. And, we played in New York. We caught up with some people and we did the same in LA. And, it was fun. And I still get the statements for how much, it's still costing me. But, it's all right.
Now, Jack, you've worked and collaborated with some impressive names in the industry, a lot of them Australian as well. What is one collaboration that really sticks out for you as a memorable time? And also, who is someone that you're yet to collaborate with that you would really love to?
I've thoroughly enjoyed the part that I played in the Bachelor Girl ascension. I feature heavily on those records, and on the guitar side of things, and I really was so committed to my friends having and not to say that I was responsible for their success or anything, but during that time, there's, Tanya and James are some of my best, still some of my best friends in the world, and I adore them. And so that I think that always I have a bit of a soft spot for that time. I've enjoyed all the records that I've played on. I've found something to enjoy in that process. If anyone came to the Tina show in or anywhere around the country that I've just, that tour that I've just been on, I tell a story about, tell a few stories. I probably needed a little more time on the Adelaide show. I had to cut my set short. I missed out on singing Heart in Danger that night. The thing is that I could have sang it. I could have done it that night, but it would have put me over time. And because Tina's a close friend and someone who I adore and care about, I always am hyper vigilant and respectful of that, because I'm a guest on their tour, and even though we're mates, I'm not one to really kind of like take the piss and just just go rogue and whatever. Look, I'd love to, and so Tina's actually someone that I would love to collaborate like vocally with. When I did the In Deep tour, I think we sang Beast Burden or something together for a bit of fun, like during those shows, and that was great. But I would like to do something maybe a little more, maybe on a recording side or something. But the biggest one that haunts me is when John asked me to sing with him on his 50th birthday tour, and I said no because I was just scared. I just had a moment of feeling small and feeling sort of weak in my musical identity as a singer, and I was just terrified. And people think it was like, oh, you didn't want to sing, because he's corny, or you're too cool. It definitely wasn't that at all. What it was I was absolutely terrified. And the song we were supposed to sing together was Burn For You, which he ended up doing with Merrill Bainbridge. And I just recently watched the video of the concert in Melbourne, and I watched him introducing me, and I can see that he's like, look, I don't want to put something there that isn't there, but you can see that there's a part of him that's just like, why are we bloody doing this, mate? And I think I felt it at the time, but I easily let go of it because I was just so relieved that I didn't have to like stand next to God and sing with him, but if I wouldn't write the old bull off just yet, but if that opportunity ever came up again, I would jump at it in a heartbeat. I really would. And I sincerely hope that one day we get to, whether it's in a lounge room or whether it's, in front of 30,000 people, I wouldn't care,
If it happens, invite me around. I'm coming over. Done. Don't leave me out, mister. There's
right.
Chesterfield. Hey, when's the last time you caught up with John?
I saw him at Glenn Wheatley's memorial, and which is not, these things aren't necessarily like great catch-ups.
Yeah.
That day I sang a couple of songs, and one of the songs was one of John's songs, and I thought that I was going to sing something of mine, because for a start I know it. But anyway, as it turned out, and I was happy to do one of John's songs, but I'm then singing at Glenn's memorial, singing one of John's songs in front of John.
Wow.
But then after that, we just had a massive hug. We just cried, and I apologized to him. I said, mate, if I've ever, I know things over the years have been misconstrued, and it's always a much better headline to be controversial and take something that someone says out of context and make that the headline, and it can read a completely different way than the statement was intended. And I know that there were times where those things happened where I said, I don't want to be like John Farnham. Jack Jones doesn't want to be like John Farnham. Like, it's like, yeah, but what happened on either side of that statement, was because you don't understand. I said this to John that day. I said, mate, if anything I ever said anywhere or anything ever hurt you or made you feel like I was dissing you, I'm so sorry. I just started crying because I was like, you know, and then he started crying, and you know, it's like, but I said to him, you just don't understand what it's like to be compared to you. You don't get it. Like, and that's okay. You don't have to get it. You're you. Why would you get it? You know, like, and John might say, you know, oh, I know what it was like when I was in, you know, Tom Jones or whatever. But the reality is that guy's an absolute beast. Like, he is a.
Jack, you are that for many people as well. I mean, your voice is surreal. You know, when I just saw you do the Tina Arena show, Love Saves, I mean, your voice is surreal. I mean, you were named, you know, as a child, you were named as guitar prodigy. Your songwriting is exceptional and connects with so many people. So many people look at you the same way as, you know, many
So
people.
funny.
John Farnham. Hey, as we start to sign off, because I'm just getting the warning signal from Zoom.
Oh yes,
It's expired, and I know you can talk, Mister. I know.
I know.
And don't worry, so can I.
I loved that review, just so you know. I thought it was adorable, and I really appreciated. And you know what? I've gone from someone who never spoke at my gigs to like speaking so much that I've had to cut songs. So there you go.
I love it. Hey, can you tell us? We kind of hinted on a little bit before, but Woodville Town Hall is when Southern Sons will be playing Friday, the 21st of June, 2024, right here in Adelaide. What can we expect from the show?
You can expect all the hits. You can expect some little, you know, like the full band experience. There are visuals. We're going to take you on a little journey back to 1990 to maybe 1994, and then we'll jump up to the present, and then we'll jump back again. And you know, you can expect to hear all the things that you probably want to hear. And that's what we're committed to delivering, and taking people on a wonderful little journey, and celebrating the music that we're so fortunate to still have in people's minds 35 years later almost.
Well, I hope you don't mind that everyone in that audience will be singing along. I'm going to be singing probably the loudest, but we're in spirit with you, enjoying every single minute. Jack, I
Thank you.
You in Adelaide. Everyone rush out and get your tickets. They are on sale now through the Woodville Town Hall website. And Jack, I look forward to seeing you in not very long at all.
You too, Marcus. Thanks so much for having me, mate. God bless you. Take it easy.